All right, and hello, hello, hello. So Maria Daniels here. And for some of you know me, I have a podcast called Successfully Chaotic, and we started this live show through my wellness company, which is called Natural Approach Health and Fitness. But we do have a name for the live show itself, ReVive Wellness, and it's actually a coaching program I did in the past, and I decided that I love the name. I wanted to nab it for the live show name, so here we are. And Michael Barnes was going to be joining us, but he is having some internet issues, but he did want me to mention to make sure and check out his Facebook group, Semi Off-Grid Wannabes. All things, natural living, off-grid living, sustainable living, and everything in between. It's a great group. I love being a part of it. Typically don't do shows by myself, but here we are, living the dream. So we're gonna just kind of dive right into talking about what we were planning to talk about, which is just a short show. We're just doing a short show today, and I would love if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in while we're still live. I'll be able to see those questions, and even when we go to where it's just the replay, you will have the ability to kind of put some messages in there, and I will see them and try to answer them to the best of my ability. So just a little background about me. I do have the podcast. I have my business world. Some people know me through that, which is fine, but I also have a longer history in the wellness world. I was a personal trainer for years. Currently, technically still am. I just don't really work as a trainer anymore. I have a organic farm in Ohio, just small, and we do primarily herbs and such now. I am a certified herbalist, an integrated nutritionist, and several other things kind of in the wellness world. So just to kind of give you just a little bit of, hey, who is this lady and what is she talking about? So that's who I am and what I'm talking about. We do have a good time, in a lot of my shows, just talking about all the things, but my passion is in my wellness world. It really, really, really is. And I am a plant nerd. I mean, that hashtag crazy plant lady, it could not describe me any better. I love plants. Sadly, these two are fake. I actually got that one as a gift. It's pretty, so I kept it. And that one up there, oh, this is weird. That one up there actually belongs to somebody else. He just left it here. So here it is. So, but I do have real plants in my office too, because I love them, and my house looks like a jungle. So just love plants. But I'm going to jump in and talk a little bit about herbs. Obviously, a lot of people, if they're not in the kind of natural quote unquote world or the world of herbs, you probably, when you think of herbs, you think of culinary herbs such as basil or rosemary, and such, which are great. I love them. They're so good. But a lot of people don't realize that they also have a lot of medicinal benefits and such to them, and that's really what fascinates me is how these plants have these medicinal benefits to be able to help your body be able to heal itself, because I'm not against conventional medicine. I'm not, it's there for a reason. I always tell people that if I go out today, start driving, I get in a car accident, I don't want somebody out there rubbing herbs on me, right? Go ahead, take me to a hospital, triage the situation. However, in my day-to-day life, we use herbs primarily to keep our body functioning properly, keep our body, in tip-top shape. So that's what we use it for. And I love it. And there's so many things that you can do with herbs. We mentioned some of the culinary herbs that you can obviously eat and you can put in teas and such. There are lots of ways. I have, I'm kind of known as the witch doctor out here. I have jars and jars and jars of dried herbs and tinctures and salves, and there is a lot that we can learn to go into that. But Michael Barnes and I, he's the one that has the Semi Off-Grid Wannabes Facebook group. We had talked about doing several classes, but I wanted to kind of lay the foundation first, just to kind of say, the who, what, where, and why, and figure out what you all wanted to learn more about. So today we're just doing a quick and dirty overview. I did bring a few jars of things with me just to show you some of my treasures. So, here we are. There's a lot of wild edibles. I'm in Ohio. There's a lot of wild edibles, and we will probably end up doing kind of a live show walking through the woods to show you some of them. But we are the end of March here in Ohio, and things haven't started to bloom out, and it's really hard to show you identifying markers on twigs. So we have to wait till we get some leaves and such so I can show you what you need to know. So, but today, one thing I did want to show you is, this is from last season. I don't know how well you can see this, but these you probably recognize. They are in many people's yards. These are red clover. And you may know about red clover. You may only know that they're in your yard and you try to mow them. You may remember from Bambi where Thumper loved to eat the red clover. It doesn't matter. You know what? Those are all great things. But one thing I love about red clover is I love to add them to teas, especially in the winter, because they have some medicinal properties that are amazing, such as helping with cough. So I gather these. You want to make sure when you're gathering herbs from your yard, you want to make sure that you are doing it away from roadways because of toxins. You know, they can get polluted. You want to make sure they're away from any sprays, which I'm organic. I love organic, but sometimes you can't control what people around you do. So make sure they're away from any type of you know, over spills from anything being sprayed and such. So you want a clean source, right? So because we're gathering herbs to help our body, and we don't want to, you know, give it some extra junk it does not need, right? So red clover is something that's it's easy to gather. You literally pick it, and I like to lay mine out until they're dry. Some people do use a dehydrator to dry. I don't do that. Dehydrators are great for some things, but I like to dry my herbs. With these, a lot of times I'll just lay them out on some, you know, some wax paper or something. But with some herbs, you want to hang them upside down to dry. You could do these upside down, but I typically will lay them out and they dry just fine. I'm going to show you a couple other things. This right here, you may not be able to recognize. It's got a label on it, so I'm not turning it around yet. But you may not be able to recognize looking like this. But I also will use this in a whole lot of things. But it is also found commonly in a lot of yards. And this was gathered from last year as well, and I don't think it's going to show, but it's dandelion leaf. So dandelion leaf that was dried and chopped up, you can put that in teas, you can put it in tinctures, lots of medicinal benefits, lots of even like vitamin and mineral benefits, good stuff. So you can add those into different things. This right here is actually some rosemary and rose petals. A lot of people don't realize that rose petals they're edible. They're used in teas. They're used to make cordials. I love making rose cordials. I love doing a lot of things with herbs, as you'll get to learn about me. But you know, this mixture here can be used for teas. It also makes an amazing relaxing bath if you put it in a mesh drawstring bag and put it in your bath water. Makes it smell amazing and very relaxing, good for your skin, good for all the things. Herbs are amazing. We love you, Maria. I love you too. All right, so, and this right here is something that I grow. Right here, you may recognize this. This is chamomile. A lot of people have heard of chamomile tea. People drink in the evening because it's relaxing. Fun fact, it also is a natural antibacterial, a natural antiviral, and several other things. Chamomile is magical, magical. Anytime that my kids are like, oh no, my stomach hurts, I feel like I'm on a puke, they automatically know Mama is making them some chamomile tea. Is happening because it is the magic herb. Well, there's a lot of magic herbs, but I love it. Plus, it's delicious. It is so delicious. Chamomile is one of my faves. It really is one of my faves. So, and this right here is elderberries. So these, we do grow elderberries, and most people have heard of elderberries. You can make elderberry syrups, you can make elderberry tinctures, you can put it into teas. I like to mix different herbs for teas, and you can add in some elderberries in there. It gives it a great flavor. One of the things I did want to touch on too was, you know, there are a lot of wild edibles that you can find in Ohio, where I'm at. And some of those, like we mentioned, were the dandelion. You can also find chicory. Chicory root is a coffee substitute. A lot of people have drink chicory coffee, which is really a tea. But chicory coffee, it's actually really good. I like it. I love coffee too, don't get me wrong. But I do love chicory tea. So also cattails is another thing that kind of a lot of people are like, what? They're edible? Yes, they're edible. Cattails are edible, and they're also useful for a lot of other things as far as like natural survival, like starting fires and such, for warmth and for cooking. So, but we could get into that another time as well. I know I'm trying to keep this fairly short, simple, and to the point at this point, unless we end up with some questions. But what can you do with herbs other than obviously make some teas? I mentioned salves and tinctures. Salves, I'm sure people have heard of salves, but I'm going to show you. I don't have any in the in-between stages, but I do have some that I do make. This is one that I keep as a sample just to show people, because I do make them to sell them. I make them for home more than anything, but this is a salve. This one actually has CBD in it, so it's a CBD muscle salve. But you can make lots of different salves, if you learn about the herbs and learn about the properties that are in them and what they're good for, you can create your own concoctions and be able to turn that into salves, along with some vitamin E, some beeswax. I'll use shea butters and stuff in my salves, depending on which types they are. But preservation is very important when you're talking about like herbs. Drying them is one preservation method. Salves is another. Another would be making tinctures. So tinctures are a fancy word. It's not really fancy. It's not a word, but I feel like it's more fancy. But it's fancy. Like you actually use alcohol, pure grain alcohol. We use an organic vodka a lot of times to pull the medicinal properties from the herbs. And once the medicinal properties are pulled from the herbs, you could either use that straight to take in dosage, or you can actually mix that with like glycerin or something, especially if you're going to be giving it to children to make it sweet. There's different things that you can do, but it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to make a tincture, depending on the type of herb. And what you would do is you would put the herb in a jar, put the alcohol on it, put it in a dark place for 6 to 8 weeks, again, depending on the herb. Then you would take that, strain it off, and then you have your tincture. The tincture can be used, like I said, straight on to be able to put in a dropper. It could be mixed with glycerin to sweeten a little bit. It also can be added. It could be you can use it as the basis for a lot of, salves, body butters, and that. So I don't have anybody here asking questions, so that's about all that I have at this moment. But that was something that I get a lot of questions on those things, and I get a lot of people really wanting to learn the wild edibles, really wanting to learn about herbs, really wanting to learn how to make tinctures and salves, what they're good for. And I love that world, and I would love to be able to teach anybody interested in learning that, what to do. So if you all are watching from Michael's group right now, make sure if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. We'll get with Michael and try to schedule to do another one of these with something more specific, because knowing Michael, I would say he had some very specific questions, so it's unfortunate he wasn't able to join. But we will reconvene on this subject. But I gave a few things for you all to think about, and you all can leave some comments and ask me all the things that you want to know, because I love to teach all these things, and I'm excited for the good weather. I'm excited for when we can be out and I can show you what some of these things look like growing in their natural habitat. So until next time, thanks so much. And if you're watching from my wellness group or wellness pages, or my YouTube channel, feel free to reach out if you have any questions as well. But I'm excited for kind of starting to do a few new herbal type shows, and having some guests on to speak on those subjects. So you enjoy your Wednesday. It's almost noon here in Ohio, and it's a little gray outside, but I'm hoping that we see the sun sometime today. My fingers are crossed. So you have a great day. Bye.